Welcome to Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I'm your host, Brother Deshone, the Auto Advisor. And all I care about is making sure you pay less than everyone else for cars and never spend more than 30 minutes in a car dealership. That's been my mission. I spent 14 years in the car business. Now we do these live streams to make sure you have the strategies you need to save thousands of dollars, because there's only three prices you can pay with any car. Three prices: market value, above market value, or below market value. So all we talk about here is how to pay below market value, which leads to thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. And you can start typing your questions in and we will get to them one by one. So we appreciate you actually tuning in with us. Everything what I'll be talking about on this stream is out of my new digital book. It is called Cars from Home. That's a mindset. 7 steps to saving time, money, and avoiding dealerships. You can get a copy of it anytime over the next 30 minutes for 75% off. It's normally a $97 book. It's worth every penny. You can see it's 5 stars. You can Google it. But as part of my welcome offer, I want to give it to you for 75% off. So if you get to my TikTok bio before 30 minutes or my Instagram bio, click that website there, or the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments, you'll click a link that you can activate that 75% off and get your book for $24 instead of $97. But it's only for 30 minutes, so make sure you get there before 30 minutes is up. Okay, so we're going to start out with Mary's question, which is what to say if I'm asked to make a down payment. First thing you have to realize is down payments are not mandatory, and in all but 2 cases, they're unnecessary. So down payments, let's say you're looking at a car, it's $25,000. You want to buy it. The bank will lend as long as you have good credit, fair credit, good credit, great credit, 20% above what the car's value is. So if you're buying a car for $25,000, the bank will lend another, let's call it $5,000. So they'll lend $30,000 against a $25,000 vehicle. Now, what does that $30,000 entail? Well, let's say you want to put no money down and you want to buy the car and put your taxes in the loan. The bank will approve that. Let's say you want to buy it and put your fees, which may be a documentation fee and DMV fees. Those are the only 3 legitimate fees: tax, DMV, documentation. So you put that in there. So now that takes you from 26, 25. With the taxes, you go up to 28. With the fees, you go up to 29. The bank will lend up to 30 or 20% above the vehicle's value, which is 25, which means you can do a no money down deal. It is not required. Let's say the vehicle's value is 25, but because you have no shopping strategy, you pay 28. The bank only is going to lend 30 because the price you paid for the vehicle does not affect the value of the vehicle. If the value was 25 and you paid 28, the bank's lending 30. Now, the same is true if you get a big discount. Let's say the value of the vehicle is 25 and you get it for 20. The bank is still going to lend what? Up to what? Come on, type in the chat so I know who I'm talking to. I need to make sure I'm talking to the locked in people. 30, exactly. So the loan to value ratios don't change regardless of what you pay for the vehicle. Now, as long as you are trying to get a vehicle and be with everything you want to add to your loan is within the loan to value ratios, money down is not necessary, no matter what they tell you. But what you have to understand is if you come over and you have $5,000 of negative equity, now we have to take that into consideration. Can we do a no money down deal with $5,000 of negative equity? Possibly. It's going to go back to 20% above what the vehicle's value is. So you heard, oh, maybe I get a discount, get me a nice deal, below market deal, knock $3,000-4,000 off. and I can bring over more negative equity. But the only two people who cannot do these no money down deals, and more than the majority of it, is the negative equity people, because you just have too much baggage you're bringing over. And then if your credit is too bad, where you're trying to finance everything, but even with credit being bad, they're normally just charging you a higher interest rate. They're not usually, sometimes you'll see a lower loan to value ratio, but typically the 20% is going to be customary. So it's really the negative equity that stops people from doing no money down deals in most cases. When I was at Mercedes, some of you know I worked for Mercedes for 5 years. People with 800 scores would leave with no car. Negative equity. So if you have a lot of negative equity, your goal is to find a car that you can get a huge discount off of, something like, $7,000-$10,000. Even if you look at somebody like Tiffany bought her Mazda using our strategies, using the strategies in my book. She got $6,530 off. Now that's a $44,000 vehicle. So if she had $6,000 of negative equity to bring over, she could do it, because she got a $6,500 discount off the car she was buying. So this is the basis for understanding no money down, Mary. And a key is for you to understand you need to be shopping for the price of your vehicle. The vehicle you're going to buy, you should be shopping for that with an out the door price, not with a loan. So let's say you are like, I want to buy a Hyundai Elantra. You should target whatever Hyundai Elantra you want, get the equipment, and then get a bunch of offers to see who's going to give you the biggest discount, because they're not all the same. They're very different. This isn't the Apple store. You can go to the Apple store in California, the iPhone's the same as the one in Florida. You go to a Hyundai dealership in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, it's an entirely different price from, Inglewood, New Jersey. A total different price than, Metuchen, New Jersey. They're all different. And that's what you have to understand. When you're shopping for your vehicle, you're shopping for the dealer who's going to sell you the car at the best price. You will handle your financing, your down payment, your interest rates in a separate process. You don't want to mix those two. Okay? That's a good start for you understanding that you should not be in a position where they're telling you make a down payment, unless you put yourself in that position. You follow what I just talked about over the last three minutes, then you should not be in that position. You should understand when a down payment is not necessary. And almost anyone can do these deals with no down payment. Go ahead, Dolan. Let's shoot the next one up. Keep typing your questions. We'll keep getting to them. What's up, Josh? Thanks for liking the video. I see you. Thank you, Bianca. Welcome to the people who are shared. Malik, 621, thank you for sharing. Shout out to the sharers. I see you. It does not go unnoticed. I appreciate everybody who shares, hit that share button, and sends this broadcast to some other people. I appreciate you. All right, AG, car shopping for a used Tesla X, how to save or haggle. There's two types of used car dealerships. When I worked at Mercedes, the first Mercedes-Benz dealership I worked at, big markups, wants to negotiate. Big markups. $7,000, $10,000 markups. Very exclusive cars in the particular case, but even if they didn't, they didn't have to have Mercedes. There's other dealerships that do this. They're going to leave themselves big markup, and then they're going to say, hey, let's negotiate. This is also for dealers who get a lot of traffic, walk-ins. They're either on a highway. They know that we're going to get 50 people on a Saturday to walk in. So they can charge, they put these prices up, and they're not trying to really sell them online. They're trying to sell them to the unsuspecting locals. Now, different dealership says, I'm only going to mark my cars up $1,500 because I want to sell a lot of them. This is an entirely different model, different mindset, different process. Where you will get in trouble is when you're talking to a dealer, or you're about to buy, you're trying to buy from a dealer that has the $1,500 markup, has already priced their car better than anyone, and you're trying to get $2,000 off because you think you're talking to the markup dealers. That's when you end up losing. So how do we know the difference? We use a process. In my book, I have a process called the multiple marketplace strategy, where we have all the marketplaces open where used cars are. if a used car is not on a website, you should not be talking about. You shouldn't be talking to anyone about it. If you can't find a vehicle on a website, a public marketplace, where every dealer wants to sell their cars, do not negotiate on these cars because they can make up prices. Let's say if it was on a website, it'd be 26. You come in, you're like, hey, I like that blue car. Hey, how much y'all asking for it? What's to stop them from saying, hey, yeah, it's not on the website yet. We're going to be asking 29. And then you're like, oh, that sounds kind of high. Well, what did you think? I'm trying to get to like 24. Now, meanwhile, if you'd have sold for 26, you probably would have, asked for, but because you think he's asking 29, now he could talk you down to 26 and you think you got a good deal. Meanwhile, the price they should have listed it for was 26 to begin with. So that's why it's a dangerous, unwinnable game to ever negotiate with a used car that you can't find on a marketplace, public, because that's where their competition is. So we're going back to our system. We're opening up all the marketplaces, CarMax, Carvana, Driveway, eBay Motors, Cars.com, Auto Trader, Car Gurus, and Carfax. 8 marketplaces. Now, all of these marketplaces have different cars. And sometimes you will see a marketplace that has a car here for 34, but the same car is on another marketplace for 32 because they lowered the price. But because you only look at Car Gurus and you're not looking at Carfax, you didn't see that when they lowered the price, this website updates faster than this one. So that's why we're on 8 marketplaces. And then we're narrowing it down based on the first thing you need to do is look at assess the market, I call it. In my book, in my multiple marketplace strategy, this is called assessing the market. What's the low prices? What's the high prices? Where the low side at? Low side is around 22. Okay, I see that. Now, the 22s are going to be garbage cars, accidents, frame damage, title messed up. But every now and then you see one for 22.5, 23, and it has a good Carfax and it has good service record, but it may not be the color you want. So now that has already set the market for you. I want it black, but I see a white one here. It has everything I want, but it's not the color. That means the low side of the market for that car is that. That's assessing the market. So now we're trying to find a vehicle there because, again, there's 3 prices that you can pay for any car. Market value, that's what negotiators pay. Above market value, that's what people who don't negotiate, can't negotiate, don't like negotiating pay. And then you got below market value, which is what people who use competitive bidding and put dealers against each other pay. Now, when we look at these low market, now we're trying to see, do we wait for a vehicle to pop up and can we screen down a couple vehicles to get to a top 3 or top 5 best choices? Once we do that, those are the vehicles, AJ, that we're going to see if we can make a final deal on, because they're already at the low side of the market. So what's going to happen? Either they're at the low side of the market and you're dealing with a dealer like the first Mercedes deal I worked up, meaning they're not going to sell the car for that price. They're going to try to mark up prep fees and marketing fees and all types of bogus fees, but they want you to come in first. They're not going to put that online. They want people to come in and say, hey, I saw this car. And then by the time, who's ever sat down, be honest, if you've ever sat down, you came to look at a car, they were asking like 22. But by the time everything got added up, they slapped like $7,000 more on it. Warranties, all types of stuff. And you're like, wait, who's had that happen? Type me if that's happened. And I need you to dialogue. Listen, I'm talking to the locked in people. Right, I see you, Josh, 100%. Okay, so this is a tactic. Look, absolutely. So this has happened to Judy, a lot of people. This is a strategy. It didn't happen by accident. They're purposely depending on people coming in, not calling in advance, and then they want to negotiate with them. Goes back to the first deal I said about the first deal I worked at. They want to negotiate. So the prices are so now that's what we verify. That's what we're only calling those top 3 to 5 dealers and saying, hey, besides besides the price here online, what fees do you charge? Once they say, oh no, tax, title, fee, doc, all right, now we know our last step is we need to get the original window sticker price so we can find out the true discount. Because we need to know, AJ, if we're dealing with a dealer who has the markup or not. And we never ask them for a discount over the phone. We go there because you got to understand I'm telling you how dealers operate because I've been inside. Every dealer who puts a used car on a website, we use a tool called V-Auto. It tells us where the vehicle we have priced at, where it ranks in the pricing. It'll tell us if we're in the top 3 best prices within 50 miles. It tells us that. So when you ask them for, hey, can you take off $2,000, $1,000 over the phone, especially if the car just got there, they're going to say, nah, listen, you can come in, we can see, but the car just got here. What we do is we drive there. We already know it's the best price on the market. So either way, we're coming home with a car. Unless it just doesn't drive well or something like that. Every now and then that happens. But usually when we leave and we know we've done our assessment from home, we're going to make that deal. That's how I did with my Infinity truck. I just had to test drive it, lock the deal up. When we do that, that's all we're doing when we get there. And we already know. Now, what we'll do, we'll ask them, hey, could you take off another $1,000? If they have it, they'll do it. If they don't, they might say, listen, we don't have it. The car just got here. I only got the car marked up. You see, we know they're telling the truth because we've done the research online. So now you know if you're programmed to only, hey, if I don't get 2,000 off, 3,000 off, then I can't buy it. And you're going to miss the dealers who want to, they literally put their cars online. They want them going in 24, 48 hours. They make sure they're the best price and they sell lots of used cars. You go in there trying to get 2,000, 3,000 off from them, you're missing opportunities. That's how it goes. Okay, this is all, that's all part of my multiple marketplace strategy. It's in my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. As part of my welcome offer, you can get your copy for 75% off, but it's only for 30 minutes. So you go to my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio, the YouTube comments, or the Facebook comments. You won't pay the normal $97 price, but it's only for 30 minutes. And then you'll have everything we'll be talking about on the stream step by step. Go ahead, Dolan. Next question. Okay, Mel, what's going on? A 5-year loan to buy a 2022 Jeep Compass. Is it good to trade in for a lease now? So this sounds like, Mel, you figured out you should be leasing, not buying. And now you're like, should I make that move now? In my book, step 1 is the leasing versus buying question, because this is the foundation of your car deal. You need to know how you're going to beat depreciation. So normally what happens is when people learn about the 8-year rule, which says if you're not buying a car to keep it for 8 years, then you should be shopping for a below market lease, not a purchase. So when people learn that, oftentimes they're like, okay, I know I'm not keeping this car. I'm in 8 years. Should I wait or should I transition to a lease now? There is no benefit to you waiting. As long as your equity situation isn't so bad where it's going to stop you from transitioning to a lease, the play is to move to a lease as soon as possible, because you're not going to get the money back you're putting into owning these cars. The only people that get the money back for owning these cars are long-term owners. 8 years, 10 years. We got people on here who have cars. I'm sure some of you have had cars for 8, 10, 12 years, maybe even more. We usually get somebody on here that has a car for more than 15 years. This is the people who get all the money out the cars. So if you're keeping a car in a short term, you're not getting the money out of them. You're putting the money in, But then when you go to replace it and you see how much you're getting back for it, you're like, wait, all this money I put in, this is all I'm getting back. That's why you don't want to put the money in. And that's what happens with below market leases. You look at somebody like Zafrina. Zafrina's driving a $65,000 vehicle, Jeep Grand Cherokee. I got it here on the screen. She's paying $579 a month, no money down. So $65,000 vehicle, that would normally be $1,200-1,300. She's paying $579 a month, no money down. She's never putting the money in. Raphael, she has a Jeep. This is her second car using our process. This is my second car. Look, she said it worked. Followed a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x4. MSRP is $46,000. Well, it's $45,900, but let's say 46. Payments $549. That's a 1.19% lease. That's normally at $45,000 before we even throw the taxes in. That's normally a $900 payment on a 5-year loan. You can type that into any auto loan calculator and see. So you're going from $900 to $549. $900 is what people are paying to buy, unless they put more money down. And then, see, people never factor in their money down. So that's why I always, when I'm talking to you, I'm going to let you know how much it costs with no money down. Because if it's $900 a month with no money down, but you decide you want to put $15,000 down, you can't tell people, well, my car payment's only $700 a month. What about the $15,000? Let's divide that, and then you'll see, no, it was actually $900 a month that you put into this vehicle. So that's why I compare, in every case, no money down, so we can really see how much these vehicles are costing us. So when you're paying $900 a month, you need to try to get that money back. And after a while, you'll see if you pay the car off and you keep it a long time, it makes sense. If you keep a car, somebody just said I had an 03 Camry from day one. Look, 307,000 miles. Now, time heals all wounds. He could have paid $10,000 too much for that Camry. Just overpaid. He didn't know what he was doing. It was supposed to be 20. They charged him 30. But if he kept the vehicle 20 years, do you see how that doesn't quite matter? What would matter is the short term. The short term. So the key is understanding, if I'm not keeping my vehicle long term, 8+ years, I shouldn't be buying, because I'm not going to beat the depreciation. I should be shopping for deals like Raphael got, like Zafrina got, like Jen got, like Ansley got, where they're leasing these vehicles, driving brand new cars, not putting a lot of money into them. They're paying cents on the dollar. These are below market leases. These aren't regular leases. And then you're beating depreciation that way because you're not putting a bunch of money into these vehicles. So there's no benefit, Mel, in waiting. You should do your equity assessment. You've already done step one, deciding whether you're going to buy or lease. Now you move to step two in our process. That's the equity assessment, where you call your bank, get your payoff, then go to the 6 websites we teach that pay cash: CarMax, Carvana, Driveway, KBB Instant Cash Offer, Car Gurus, AutoNation. Once you do your equity assessment, it's going to tell you, do you have positive equity, negative equity? And then you will move to the third step, but you have to do that first. So, but there's no benefit in waiting. None. Not one benefit in waiting longer to stay in a bad financial structure when you can go into a lease. Great question. All of this is in my new digital book. For those of you, you're sitting there, you're like, Deshone, there's no way I'm going to remember all of this stuff. We haven't even started warming up yet. You can grab my digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. It has everything in there step by step, leasing step by step, purchasing new cars step by step, purchasing used cars step by step, making banks bid for your loan step by step. And you can get it for 75% off as part of my welcome offer in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio. Click the website there, and or YouTube comments or your Facebook comments, and you can get it for 75% off, which will be $24 instead of the $97. But it's only for 30 minutes. Once 30 minutes expires, the welcome offer does go away. And $97 is still a great price for what you're going to get. But $24. Go ahead, Dolan. Next question. Just got the book the other day. Awesome, Mel. And I see you already made the decision about the step one, which is great. Just move to the equity assessment and just keep checking off the steps. Just trust the process. You're going to be just fine. Thoughts on leasing versus financing? Well, T, this is exactly what we just spoke about. I have a very clear rule. It's called the 8-year rule, where it says if you're not buying your vehicle to keep 8 years, you should be leasing. And not just getting any lease, you need to get a below market lease, because some people will tell you leasing, this is when you know it's bad. When a dealer tells you leasing is the same price as buying, you're dealing with an 80% dealer, which means they are going to charge you a lot of money. And that lot of money is trying to discourage you from leasing, but that's not what a lease deal would be if you shopped around. So look at Ansley. Ansley has a 2024 Infiniti QX60. It's a $58,000 vehicle. He got it for $554 a month. Only first month's payment down. I want you to pay attention to these details. We're not putting money down to get to these payments. These are what is called 1% leases, or anything below 1.5 we consider a good deal. Anything below 1% we consider it a steal. So it's a steal, it's a deal. And over 1%, over 1.5%, I say in my book, it's time to chill. We don't lease those. We don't sign those leases. They're bad lease deals. But look at Jen. Jen pays $512 a month. Now, normally these vehicles that they're buying would be $300 to $400 more per month if they bought them. So when you take somebody like Danielle, Danielle's Audi. It's a $45,000 Audi, 44 and change. If she bought that vehicle, she's looking at a $900 a month payment, no money down, 5 years. She's leasing it, no money down, $550. So she's paying, call it almost $400 less per month, because we didn't even put the taxes into the price of the vehicle. So if we put taxes into that MSRP, then it might be around 48. And her payment's probably going to be about $950 for 5 years. She's paying $550. Now, let's just to give you an example to understand it deeper, let's say she got a big discount off this Audi. Let's say they knock off even $10,000 for her, which would never happen. But let's just say she knocked off, I just want to prove a point here. Instead of 48 with the taxes, let's say she gets a big discount. She's at 38 now. How much is the payment on $38,000? Some of you know every $5,000, and that's going to be a little, roundabout math for you to do. Every $5,000 is about how much per month? Let's talk to the people who know this. Every $5,000 on a car loan that you look at every $5,000 is about how much per month? Not 1,000, Mel. I think you typed an extra zero by accident. Yes. $100. Yes, $100. Yes, I see a lot of people. Look, thank you, Cleef. Yes, I listen, man. I love the locked in people. Shout out to the people who locked in, following, and learning from what we're talking about here, not just letting it go in one ear and out the other. So when you look at a $10,000 car, you should automatically think that's $200 a month. $20,000 car, $400 a month. $80,000 car, you should be thinking, okay, that's $1,300 a month. So when you have these parameters, you don't get in trouble and you don't let people slap you in long loans. And how my payment so low? That's because you're in a 9-year loan. So when you have these parameters, you can't be tricked. So let's go back to, if she got a big discount off that Audi, 38 instead of 48, she's still looking at a $750 payment, $775. She's paying $550. So that is an example of how it's nowhere close. Even with the biggest discount you would get off of a brand new car, a below market lease is still so much lower from an investment standpoint, from what's coming out of your household. And let's take one more scenario, and this is all tied into the 8-year rule. When I say you can make it easy on yourself and just say, if I'm not keeping the car 8 years, I'm going to shop for a below market lease. Now I'm explaining the math behind it so that you know there's math behind it. So all right, I didn't just pull the 8 years out of my hat and say, hey, no, there's math behind it. So let's look at one more scenario. Let's say, Danielle, somebody says they want to get a used Audi, because there's some of you you're like, well, Deshone, what if I buy used? Does it still make sense? Does the 8-year rule still apply? Because I'm going to knock, 20, 30% off the price if I get it used. Now it makes sense to buy, right? No, it doesn't. Let's go deep on this. So let's say Danielle, instead of 44, where her Audi is, let's say she finds a nice one for 28. 3-4 years old. I'm being generous. She finds a nice one for 28. With taxes, let's just round it out to 30. That's her all-in price. She finds her a nice 3 to 4-year-old Audi. 1 year left on the warranty, and then she's going to be on her own. $30,000. What's her payment? 5 years. What's her payment? Let's go. Type in. $30,000, $600 a month. Thank you. $600 a month. So we just took some very clear scenarios, and we took 35,000 would be 600 a month. Would be 700. Josh, 30,000 is going to be 600. Yep, you got it. I see you updated it. So now let's look at this. We have a scenario where Danielle's driving a brand new Audi for the next 3 years, $550 a month. Had she bought a brand new one with a dramatic discount, she's still be with a regular discount, she's going to be $900 a month. With a dramatic discount, she's still going to be it was close to it was 38, so 38, still close to almost $800 a month, $775. Then with her used version, if she bought a used version and got a great price on it, 28 plus tax, she's at 600. So every one of those scenarios is much more expensive than the purchase and then the lease, than the below market lease. And frankly, you can't really compare a 3-year-old, 4-year-old Audi to a brand new one. You just can't. Because you're only you're paying $600 a month, I'm paying $550, but the benefits even outweigh that. You're gonna have no warranty after a year. Anything goes wrong, you're on your own. You're gonna 3 years from now, your vehicle's gonna be 7 years old. 3 years from now, I'm going into a brand new another version, 2028 or whatever's gonna be out then. So there's no comparison. When does the buyer win? The buyer wins in the long run. You can see the buyer's losing in the short term, right? In every one of those scenarios I just laid out, the buyer is clearly losing. Brand new car buyer paying $300, $400, $500 a month more than the below market lease, losing. The used person got a payment closer to the below market lease, but look what they're driving. 3-4-year-old car. It's going to have no warranty soon. They're going to be on their own. And then the majority of that time they have it, they're going to have no warranty. That is the life of the buyer. But after 8 years, the money paid starts to stack for the lease person. Because if I'm paying $550 a month, all right, let's say Danielle gets 3-4 Audis in a row. She just got 4 Audis, every single one of them, she gets below market deal $550. Below market deal $550. After she gets to year 8, she's paid more than these other people. Year 8, she's paid more. So at that particular point, financially, the buyers are ahead. But before that, the buyers have lost because Danielle's driving better vehicles for less. That's why it's the 8-year rule. This is the first decision you make, because if you make this wrong, you lost. If you go in to buy a car, if you go in and you buy a car, but you should have leased, you lost. I just showed you. Doesn't matter how good of a deal you got. Man, Deshone, they knocked 15% off for me. Does not matter. If you're going to replace that vehicle in 3, 4, 5 years, you would have been better off getting a below market lease and never tying up all of that money in the vehicle. That makes sense? Type $signs if you're clear on that. Type $sign, $sign if you're clear on that. All of this is in my new digital book. That's step 1. It's called Cars from Home. It's 5-star rated. Thank you to everyone who's reviewed the book and rated it. And it's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. That was step 1, which is our leasing versus buying question. That's how we put our deal on the right foundation. And that's the most important question. It's literally called that in the book, the most important question. How many years are you going to keep the next car? That's when we decide leasing versus. You can get your copy of Cars from Home for 75% off in my TikTok bio or my Instagram bio. Go to click the picture of me, click the website, and then you can activate your 75% off for the book. But it's only for 30 minutes. Also in the YouTube comments or the Facebook comments. After that, price goes back up to $97. Welcome offer is gone. But go get your book and come on back to the show. And make sure when you get the book, you screenshot the thank you page, because on that thank you page is the link to open the book. I also email you a copy, but sometimes you type in your email wrong, you type in too fast, and that screenshot has my support team's email, where you can email my support team just in case you type your email wrong and your book's not in there. So go ahead, Dolan. Next question. Keep them coming. Keep typing your questions, y'all. We will get to as many as we can while we're on. How do you calculate the negative equity? This is a great question. Negative equity, you want to calculate based on your highest possible offers. When you calculate your negative equity based on anything but your highest offers for your vehicle, then you are now putting yourself in a position where you have more negative equity than you would have. So let's say you go into a car dealership, which we never do, and talk numbers. We go into a car dealership, test drive, pick up our car, but you're there, you're talking numbers. Now they look at you and they tell you your car is only worth 16. You have $6,000 of negative equity. That means you owe 22. So your car's worth 16, you owe 22. They're telling you you have $6,000 of negative equity. Now, the problem is, if you believe that without actually doing what we call the equity assessment, which is getting bids for your car from companies that pay cash. They buy cars same day, you come out, or sometimes they send an inspector. It's a very quick process. They cut you a check and they pick up your car, right? There's 6 companies we use right now to do that. Carvana, CarMax, Driveway, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, and Car Gurus. Now, these 6 companies bid, we get their bids. Now, let's say CarMax decides they can pay you $19,000. You owe 22. How much negative equity do you have now? The dealer, your car was only worth 16 to them, but to CarMax, it's worth 19. So instead of 6,000 negative equity, you only got 3,000. But if you didn't get the highest offers for your vehicle, your negative equity is going to appear larger. It's going to be larger. And it's not because it should have been. It's because you didn't employ strategies to maximize your vehicle's value by putting it on the open market. You wanted to do a quick deal and you took less money than you could have gotten trading in a car. We don't do that. So, Mary, we do the equity assessment. That's going to tell us right then and there how much negative equity we have or how much positive equity we have. It takes 15, 20 minutes to do. Just go to those 6 sites. That's in my book, Step by Step. That's step 2, the equity assessment. Once we actually decide whether we're going to buy or lease, that's step 1. Now we move to step 2, which is the equity assessment. We don't move forward until we found out what our equity position is. Okay, does that make sense? All right, go ahead, Dolan. Next question. And some of you are going to find out that you have more equity than you thought, and you don't have to wait to sell your car. So, I've had people who thought they had to wait until the car was paid off. If you ever, you might have thought, Sean, I thought I had to have my title to sell a car. No, you don't. You can sell a car you still have a loan on. Absolutely. And the reason I know this, people think this way, because when I was at the dealership, people would walk into the dealership. I get a guy who's like, hey, is that the new version there? That's the 2020 whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's the one just came out. He's like, all right, I got 3 more payments left, and then I'm going to come see you for that. I'm like, what? Hold on, let me talk to you. Because someone told him, and it could have been based on 30 years ago. Maybe there was a time when you couldn't sell a vehicle without paying it off and having the title. I don't know. But in this particular case, it makes no sense to run a race, pay off a car, and then turn around and go get another car. You should be leasing. Because that's one of the downfalls of leasing is you always have a payment. Now, there's benefits there, But if you are buying and you always have a payment, because literally as soon as you pay off your car, you go get another car, and then you go get another car, and you always have a payment, you've never reached the reward stage of buying. So, IG, how would you know a car is below market value? Who to believe? CarMax? No, this is not, we don't believe companies. You know a car is below market value by looking at the market and getting multiple offers. There is no quick, oh, let me plug this in and this tells me this. We don't trust anyone. There's no trusting or believing anyone. You want to assess the market. If I'm looking at a bunch of used cars and I'm looking at, okay, 2020 to 2022 Honda Civics, I can see what the low side of the market is. They're at 19. I can see the middle of the market is about 23. Then I can see these, all of my other ones, they high. I need to know where the low side of the market is. If I'm leasing, everything we do with buying, if we're buying a new car or we're leasing, we use a strategy in my book called the 25 to 5. We connect with 25 dealers online. We're going to get 5 offers. This is for new cars and leases. Assessing the market for these cars comes through multiple offers. So when I look at, let me give you an example. I use an example like Teddy. So Teddy gets multiple offers. How does he know that his BMW deal is a below market deal? Says here, look, the post is a bit wordy, but I'm too pumped. I will never, repeat, never lease another vehicle any other way. From start to finish, this deal took 6 days. Connected with 25 dealers online. We do this in 20 minutes. I show you in my book how to do this in 20 minutes. 4 nearby states. He's on the Indiana border. I received 10 offers. I only use the scripts provided. So I provide you with email scripts, copy and paste, because I know everything these dealers are going to say. Obviously, I was a car dealer for a long time, so I know the canned responses. So I wrote the email templates to respond to them. Now, he ends up, this is a $73,000 vehicle. He closed his deal at $856 a month, no money down. Now, how does he know $856 was the below market deal for his BMW? Because his highest offer came in at $1123. So you can see my highest offer during this process from a different dealer was $1123. Look, the dealer closest to me, the local dealer, came in at $986. So his closest dealer is $986. His highest offer is $1123. He closes his deal at $856. It's clearly below market value because he sees the market. The only way to get below market deals is to look at the market. That's why we have the best system for getting multiple offers on new cars and leases. Or if we're shopping for a used car, we're looking at multiple options. That's the only way. That's why I said there's 3 prices you can pay for any car. If you're going to buy a car, lease a car, if you're going to buy a new car, buy a used car, or lease a car, there's 3 prices you can pay. Market value, that's what negotiators get. They don't know if they're actually getting a below market deal. They're just negotiating to try to get to the bottom. But they don't know they're at the bottom because they don't even know if they're at the dealership. Let's just say, let me go back to Teddy's deal. Let me show you an example of why you can't get a below market deal from the wrong dealer. This Teddy's local dealer comes in at $986 a month. Now, we have counter offer calculators in my book. His $986 from his local dealer is not the first offer. That's the last offer. That's, hey, we're not doing anything lower than that. The highest offer, $1123. We're not doing anything lower than that. So if somebody's in there and they're negotiating with one of those dealers, they're not going to get to $856. They're at the wrong dealer. They're at an 80% dealer, and 80% dealers want to make a certain amount of money or they're not going to sell the car. If they can't make $5,000, they're not going to sell a car. $7,000, whatever it is, I'm not going below this. Meanwhile, the dealer who beat everyone's offer at $856, maybe they only made $2,000. Maybe they only made $3,000. Who knows? But the point is, they said, I don't need to make all that. I'm going to beat my competition and sell this person a car. That's a 20% dealer. That's why I say negotiators pay market value. People who don't, if you don't negotiate and you're like, man, Deshone, I just go and I close my eyes and just wake me up when it's over and I could drive out of here. You're going to pay above market value. So you're gonna, because you just don't have any, fight in you, you have no strategy. But below market is reserved for the people who are putting dealers against each other, because it's the only way to know you got a below market deal is when you can look at enough options and know that you paid less. It's like this with anything. It's not just cars, TVs the same way. If you were buying a 100-inch TV, how would you make sure you're getting a good deal? You're going to look at probably 30, 40 TVs in every website. Then you're going to be, oh, this one's on sale, $699. All the rest of them is $900 and $1,000. Clearly, that's the below market deal. Same principles. Same principles. Go ahead, Dolan. Next question. Coincidence. All I do is teach you to shop for cars like you shop for everything else. Everything else in life, you shop this way except cars. Cars, you shop a way you wouldn't shop for anything else the way you shop for cars. Think about that. Am I right or am I right? Type right if you know I'm right. The way you shop for cars and buy cars, you won't buy anything else like that. You don't buy houses like that. You don't buy jewelry like that. You don't buy, maybe jewelry. That's a little, because it's sometimes tough to put people against it. But you don't buy TVs like that. You don't buy furniture like that. Just walk in and, all right, go back and forth. No, you're comparison shopping. You're using the internet as your friend to get the information and start to have multiple options. That's all we do when it comes to cars. That's why we win easily. It's no struggle when you're using the internet to put people against each other. The struggle is going in and battling and begging someone to take money off when you're already about to spend 30, 40 grand with them. Imagine that. You're about to make a $40,000 transaction and you're just begging, come on, can you take off another 500? Just $40,000. All right. Best SUV to buy. This is all subjective. If you want to look at ratings, feel free to do that. I don't recommend cars because it's just too subjective. There's over 40 car companies. All of them have vehicles in every size category: compact, midsize, large, 3 rows. So there's so many categories. The key is this: find one you like based on looks. I like the look of that. And then you can come home and do what we call a quality check. This is in my book. This is in step 4. This is when we make sure the car we're shopping for is a good car. Some vehicles have a bad DNA. I want you to remember this. DNA you can't get around. You cannot repair DNA. So if a Nissan has a particular transmission that goes out between 80 and 90,000 miles, I never get it, because I would never buy that car, because there's nothing I can do to escape what might happen. It's just literally the luck of the draw. Maybe mine doesn't go out at 80, 90,000, but these vehicles are known for the transmissions going out from 80 to 100,000 miles. That's why you'll notice a lot of Nissans for sale. They got like 80,000 miles on them, 90, because people get rid of them right when the transmission starts slipping or right before it goes out. That's what happens. So you can, and this is not all Nissan. So we always type in the actual car to Google, and we type in 2000, we put the year, the make, the model, 2000 Honda Accord reliability, 2018 Nissan Altima longevity. There's three words that we use that you need to get familiar with: initial quality, reliability, longevity. This takes 5 minutes to do. Initial quality tells you, what does the data say? What are people saying about the vehicle the first 90 days? So if you're leasing a car, you're going to buy a car new or you're going to lease it, you